The first decision y'all have to make as a squad is where to land. I'm going to go over what I would call the golden triangle. The golden triangle consists of a contract, a buy station, and a hotspot. Hotspots are places on the map that have more loot than normal. On this particular footage, you'll notice that we are doing the golden triangle. We have the buy station, we have a hotspot, and we have multiple contracts, plus the additional bonus of having an actual helicopter, so that's cool. When I decided to hit this spot, I decided to grab the helicopter. The only reason why is because sometimes you'll get just one individual, he'll just fly down just to grab the helicopter and take off, which I've had times where they'll take the helicopter and then they'll crush us. So I figured it'd be better just to get the helicopter, and I drive it pretty well, so I can use it almost as efficiently as a gun, because if somebody had landed there with us, I would have took that helicopter and just crashed it into them. That didn't end up happening, so I just fly it, look around real quick, everything looks good, and then I go ahead and just land it. Here's another clip of me breaking the rules. I only did 2 out of the 3 on the triangle. I just figured the stores were close enough where I could get to them anyways, and it still worked out for us. Landing together is very important. Here you'll see me and Baja Kid landing on top of the roof. We have, I believe, 2 different squads here. I make contact, he makes contact, he ends up getting down, but he's not out. So he's still communicating with me, he's still using the ping system, and calling all these guys out. We're in communication, he's finding a safe spot. These are all important things to know about. So I'm just trying to play it cool. I'm not trying to, I mean, getting kills is great, but I'm also trying to survive. You know, I know when to back off. You don't, just because I engaged with that guy didn't mean I have to keep engaging. So I went, found me a better gun. Now I can face him again. My buddy's still alive. He's calling things out. This is great. This is something you have to do in duos. You have to constantly communicate. There's also luck being played. I mean, there's some moments where watching this video I should have died, but luck was on my side. Didn't happen. It's because we had 2 different squads. They were both engaging, and it kept enough pressure. And I was able to revive my buddy at the very last second. So, things to get out of that is land correctly. Be in a safe spot when you're down, and keep calling things out. Okay, so y'all have landed, the chaos is over. It is now time to do it as a team. The way you want to do this is no more than 10 meters apart. You want to clear all the rooms. You even want to loot together. So if you get an AR and he doesn't have one yet, you let him pick up the next AR. The strategy that you're looking at here is there's a contract and it's out in the open, just at this little small watchtower. It puts you out in a place that's not really your comfort zone. It's smart to just drop your money and be the go-to guy that grabs the actual scavenger. And that's what I did. I dropped my money, I let him pick up the cash, and I went out there to sacrifice myself. During that, I also found a satchel that he could have used, so I marked it for him. And we're going to end up trading places. So I'm going to go back up the hill, he's going to drop the cash, and we're going to just repeat that whole process. It's just a good strategy. So we all know the saying, cash is king. Well, same thing applies to Call of Duty. You want to get as much cash as possible, because with cash you can buy all sorts of things. So contracts is a huge thing. Once you get your contracts and you got enough money, me personally, I actually like buying loadouts before the free loadout drop comes. My thinking with this is we'll have all of our perks and we can down players that don't have their free loadout yet. When you drop a loadout, I prefer places that are kind of safe, of course. A lot of people don't even think about it, they just kind of throw it out in the open, but you should take your loadout and find a little area that you can drop it. So here's an example of not the best place to drop a loadout. Now we don't wipe or anything or even get shot at, but it's just kind of out in the open. I'm not the biggest fan of this one, but this is just to give you an example of kind of like a poorly placed loadout drop. So here's one benefit of getting the loadout drop early. So we already have our loadout, we're waiting for somebody to come over here, they do. They end up coming from the gulag, parachuting right in, just for an easy kill. So before I go any further, let's talk about contracts just one more time. So on contracts, every time you do a contract, you get a bonus on there. So like your first contract, I believe is 40%, your second contract after that is 80%, and so on. And so it's very important to get contracts. At least do more than one, because that's how you end up with those games where you have like $20,000. And if you have $20,000, I mean, that's a loadout, that's a self-revive, and a gas mask. Very easy. So a big thing to know is you need to clear out houses. So we're making our way to this yellow house, and I'm still checking my back. You always want to check your back when you're running out in the open. And when you approach these houses, you want to peek in there. So you open the door very slowly, and make your peek, check your corners, clear out each room, and then you don't worry about loot either. And after that, we head upstairs, make sure there's no campers up here. We're good to go, and now we can actually loot. So right here, we are playing gas to our back. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. On this particular match, where we were located, I felt like it was smarter to play with gas to my back. Now, the negatives to playing gas to your back is some of those buildings up front, they can camp there and look for people like me who play to the gas to my back. And so they could post up over there and start shooting at us while we were out in the open. So those are the negatives. The pros to it is you usually only have, you have only this side to worry about. And during it, I pick up a contract because bounties are great. Even if you're not going to use it, bounties are great because it's like a free UAV. So this let us know that there's actually a squad, a few hundred meters to our left, and we're going to end up hunting them down. So right here, you see a bad engagement. I did not down him. I should have waited. I probably could have dropped behind that house and took advantage of the situation since I knew where he was, but he didn't know where I was. Once you shoot somebody, they leave that little mark on their screen that it tells you, where they were actually hit, on their body. It would show on the compass. And so he kind of probably had a general idea of where he was being shot from, even though I had a silencer. And those bad engagements can screw you over. And the reason why is because that guy can travel about 100 meters, towards inside the circle and wait for us to come in there. And he has the advantage because he knows where to look for, we don't. So you remember earlier, I had picked up a bounty from one of the gameplay footages, and so this is it right here. We end up seeing both of them, but we don't engage. This is what I would call a good engagement because we become the hunters and we follow them the whole time. They're just prey to us. And so what you want to do is get like a high ground if you can. So we had the high ground and I kept marking them. You just notice those red marks right there. So that just in case my buddy didn't see, I was letting them know, like, hey, this is the general idea or general area that they're coming from. They have no cover right here, so we engage. This is probably the best time to engage. They had zero cover, just right out in the open road. Okay, so let's be clear. Buy stations at the end are enemy magnets. The reason why is because they have so many goodies. When you're at the end, a lot of times you can get cash from all the, squads you've been wiping getting towards the last circle. And in this case right here, we end up engaging with an enemy that was heading towards the buy station. He ends up hurting me pretty bad. Check out my health. Very, very low. You're wondering, how come I didn't run away to armor up? In that case, there was two things going on. One, I was so injured that I had a feeling that this enemy was going to try to finish me off. I mean, he knows how much damage he just applied to me. The second thing that was going through my head is they had gas in their back. So he was going to run towards me anyways. So it was a smarter move to swap to my RPG since I already put a few bullets in him and shoot that rocket at him. That's a good move if you use the RPG. A good thing to have, at least for one of your squad mates, whether it's you or your squad mate, is to have a heartbeat sensor. In this case, we had a heartbeat sensor and Brad's using it. He notified me that there is a guy in this blue building, and so we're going to use gas to our advantage. Gas is coming in. We're going to move out just a few feet in front of it, and I already have a gas mask, so I'm not too worried about it. And we're just going to keep an aim on here and wait for this guy to pop out. He does. He makes his appearance, and he dies. Okay, so one more thing I forgot to go over is the loadouts. So you get 2 free loadouts. You get the one at the beginning and then one at the end. This is the last loadout for the game. And it's always smart, I say always, but I would pick Ghost if you can. I would grab Ghost towards the end. It's very important because that's when everybody is using their heartbeats and they're popping all their UAVs. So grab Ghost if you can. So if you're ever in a bad situation where you get shot out and you're forced into a house like this one right here, I highly recommend, if there's another house available, like a 2-story house, to get the hell out of here and head towards that 2-story house. And that's what we did. And if you saw right there, I had asked if my buddy had any armor, because it's very important to always be armored up all the way. Like, so if he has any spare, he should be handing them out. Same goes for you. You should be always making sure your partner has fully armor. And so that's what we're gonna go right in here. We're gonna make like just a dynamic entry. This is just a very quick clear. This is dangerous, but I had no choice because we had a sniper out there. He was the one that actually injured me. I think he shot me twice in that video. I can't remember. So we take control of this. This is going to be our new house. There's where that sniper's at. So we end up waiting it out, and the circle's going to close. We're not going to go anywhere. Camping's not my favorite, but sometimes you're in situations like this where it's the best move. It is, you know, ideal to camp. And I put one of these deployable covers down. If you ever use them, they're great for stairways. They're also great whenever you're out in the open on accident or just a bad move in general and you need some cover. You can just lay one right down and hide behind it. They end up sending a cluster strike. Me and Matt were communicating right there about sending a cluster strike on ourselves just in case they were getting close to this building. It didn't end up killing anybody, but it's still a good move. It's better to use all your crap that you have than to just die with it. So we're also getting towards the end on this clip as well, and I just wanted to show you this before I had ended on the other one, was me using the deployable cover again. So here's an example of me kind of going out in the open. I was feeling a little aggressive. We end up, you know, downing this guy, and then his partner's still alive back there. So my buddy goes to the left to flank him. I kind of pop out from that tree. And it just seemed like a smart idea to go ahead and use my deployable cover right there, because I could keep an eye on him on that corner. And as you'll see in a second, it ends up paying off for me. My buddy to the left, it's not ideal what he's doing. He was feeling extra confident. If your partner's that good of a shooter, then sure, go ahead and go for it. This guy ends up making a run out here, and it was just an easy kill. Because once you're mounted, man, your accuracy is pretty solid with your rifle. So this is the other gameplay footage with Superfly. We're getting towards the end. We are playing with gas, not to our back, but to our side. It's another strategy that I use from time to time. We are disadvantaged right now is that we have the low ground, they have the high ground, but we do know where they're at, and so we're gonna hunt them. I know this guy has to come out eventually, so end up downing him, and I end up hearing a revive, and so I called it out, but he ends up finishing him. So now we're gonna play in the woods, and we're gonna try to keep the high ground on this and play gas to the back of our side. Just a great way of doing it. Always armor up if you can, and like if you're ever in situations like this where you're, you know, behind trees, then use them. You should definitely use the trees to your advantage. The enemy team is way down there, so, you know, make pings. It's always a good thing. So I end up pinging him and calling where this possible enemy is at. So we just keep an eye on him. Normally you want your buddy to play a little bit closer than where he's at. He was kind of far away from me, and now we've kind of split up. This is where things can go bad real quick, because they can down him and finish him before I can get to him, and that's the biggest thing that can cause your loss. So they end up downing him. He gets to a safe spot so I can revive him, and I head on over there. But notice how I didn't go right to him just to get that revive. You know, some people will make the mistake that they feel like they have to revive the guy right away. I ask him to come to me, so he ends up inching his way over there. Finally makes it, so I give him a revive. He's kind of out in the open. They had their chance to shoot him, but I think they were relocating to a new area to get us. And again, play it cool. Make sure you're fully plated. He doesn't have any plates, it looks like. I never asked if he was out or he just forgot. But it ends up costing him because he goes down here shortly. So I keep the high ground to these guys, and I'm gonna use gas again. I'm gonna wait for gas to close in and force them, you know, in my advantage. And so I go out there. I'm still kind of chilling in the gas, you know, and yeah, end up winning. Alright, so now we're back to Brad's footage. This is when we're at the very end. And all we had was one player left, so we both come out. We go out as a team, and we downed him. He ends up getting I believe the last shot on that guy. Which was a good thing, because if he hadn't popped out, he might have actually got me, because I felt like my aiming was a little off when I jumped out that window. Now we're back to me and Mitch. This is towards the end of our win. I'm playing once again with that strategy with gas to my back or gas to my side, however you want to word it. And we're both plating up. We call it out. We both say we're plating up, and we, if you notice, we have cover. It's a good thing. At least I do. I think eventually he ends up moving a little too forward, a little too far away from me. Ends up costing him. You see, he's far. I didn't really want to go out there. I mean, I could have went out there, but I felt like he was in a bad spot. So he kind of forced me to be in a bad spot. I threw a grenade over there to kind of keep him off. Ends up running down him, but I noticed that it's not a team wipe. That's always something to pay attention to. If you get a squad wipe or team wipe, whatever it's called. And so I keep looking over there. I'm waiting for that guy to do the self-revive, and he ends up self-reviving. Find him, shoot him, he's dead. Now I self-revive out here. This isn't the best spot either to self-revive. I'm kind of out in the open. It was just a risk. It's always better to have two, you know, over one. So we're staying close together. He's armoring up, and yeah, we're just gonna stick together on this. That's how you should play it. The guy goes down, and now we just have one squad left. So we're gonna play it cool. He's looking for some armor. He can't find any armor. He's pissed. And yeah, now it's just a waiting game. We end up finding them. They made the mistake. I guess they were gonna get in the car and just run us over. I think that was their logic. I don't know, but it was kind of funny. That's all I have for now. Thanks for watching.